Summer Lightning by P.G. Wodehouse, adapted in 6 episodes by Richard Osborne, with Richard Vernon as Lord Emsworth and Ian Carmichael as the Honourable Galahad Threepwood. Episode 1, Trouble Brewing at Blandings.
Blandings Castle, somewhere in Shropshire, sometime in the 1920s, asleep in the sunshine. Dancing little ripples of heat mist play across its smooth lawns and stone-flagged terraces. The air is full of the lulling drone of insects. It is the gracious hour of a summer afternoon when nature seems to unbutton its waistcoat and put its feet up. Nature, yes, but not the 9th Earl of Emsworth, master of all his affairs, except, that is, when his sister Constance is about. If he puts his feet up, he knows that she, or if not she, his secretary or one of his nieces or nephews will find him and distract him from thoughts of the lady of his heart, his prize-winning black Berkshire sow, Empress of Blandings. Taking refuge from all disturbers of his peace, Lord Emsworth is pottering pigwards to the paddock, to hang in silent admiration over the rails of the Empress's bijou residence. Meanwhile, his faithful butler, Beach, is trying to take advantage of the afternoon lull in a deck chair in the shade of a laurel bush outside his pantry.
Beach? Beach? Beach?
Mr. Carmody, sir. You startled me.
You were asleep, Beach.
Oh,
Blandings Castle butler asleep at his post. Blames heatwave.
No, sir. After finishing the luncheon and doing the silver, I brought my deck chair out here to read my paper.
And the scissors?
Oh, I saw something I wanted for my scrapbook, sir. Would you care to...
Beach, would you care to earn an easy quid?
Oh, yes, sir.
Here then.
Oh, thank you, sir.
I want you to find Miss Millicent and give her this note from me, telling her to meet me in the rose garden at 6 o'clock. Secrecy is the word. And don't let her aunt see you passing my notes to Miss Millicent.
Thank you, sir, but Lady Constance went up to London on the 3:30 train, sir.
What? There's no need for all this secrecy.
Oh, well, sir, then I must...
No, keep the quid, Beach. Lord Emsworth has remembered to pay his secretary this month. And these days, I am rather in the mood for flinging purses of gold to my well-wishers. I'm in love, Beach. Did I tell you? I love Miss Millicent.
No, sir, but I had observed.
Well, keep it to yourself, Beach. I'm in no position yet to pass muster as husband of a niece of the 9th Earl of Emsworth, so we have to keep it dark. But Miss Millicent does not spurn my suit.
I congratulate you, sir.
I used to be a confirmed Londoner. I don't say that an occasional night in the Piccadilly neighbourhood would come amiss, but suddenly, well, Blandings Castle with Miss Millicent in it. Ah, what a spot!
Yes, sir.
A Garden of Eden, shall I call it?
Certainly, sir, if you wish.
And now that old Ronnie's coming tomorrow, joy, as you might say, will be unconfined.
Mr. Ronald, sir?
Yes, he's been to Biarritz with his mother. It was Ronnie, you know, who got me the job here. And he, Beach, what is that you've been cutting out of your paper?
It's a photograph, sir, of Mr. Galahad. I have an album in which I paste items of interest to the family.
What that album needs is a photograph of Lady Constance falling out of a window and breaking her neck. She does not approve of my hanging round, Miss Millicent.
I'm sorry, sir. Under this photograph of Mr. Galahad is a reference to his literary work.
Oh, show me, Beach. The Honourable Galahad Threepwood, brother of the Earl of Emsworth. Yes, a little bird tells us that Gally is at Blandings Castle, the ancestral seat of the family, busily engaged in writing his reminiscences. As any member of the old brigade will testify, these ought to be as warm as the weather, if not warmer.
Yes, sir. Mr. Galahad was somewhat wild as a young man. I have heard stories...
Hot stuff, was he? I hope he's putting it all in his book. Oh, by the way, Beach.
Yes, sir?
A bloke named Baxter. Can you give me any information on him?
Mr. Baxter, sir? Some time ago, sir, he occupied your position as private secretary to his lordship.
Yes. Lady Constance was referring to him, and in glowing terms, and to my disadvantage. Mr. Baxter loved his work, Mr. Carmody. Mr. Baxter had no time to go riding with my niece Millicent, Mr. Carmody. A dirty dig, that Beach. Well, why did they let this paragon Baxter go?
I fancy, sir, that there was some trouble.
Oh, pinch the spoons?
No, sir, I never knew the details, but there was something about some flower pots.
Pinch the flower pots?
No, sir. He threw them at his lordship, I understand.
Well, I don't throw flower pots at people. Not so much as a pen wiper have I ever bunged at Lord Emsworth.
His lordship has always thought after that Mr. Baxter was,
Potty?
well, shall we say, subject to hallucinations. His lordship did not like Mr. Baxter.
But Lady Constance did.
Quite so.
Oh, well, Beach. I must be getting back to my professional duties. You won't forget to give that note to Miss Millicent. Rose Garden, 6 o'clock, sharp.
I will be taking the tea out onto the lawn in a few minutes, sir.
Ah, beach tea at last. Oh, and strawberries, heavenly. Put it down on the table there. I expect Lord Emsworth along any minute.
Yes, miss. Mr. Carmody asked me to give you this, miss.
If you see Mr. Carmody, Beach, will you say, message received, contents noted, will be there.
Yes, miss.
Is my tea, Millie?
Yes, Uncle Clarence.
Ah, capital, capital. Afternoon, Beach.
Afternoon, my lord.
Shall I pour, Uncle?
Oh, thank you, my dear.
That'll be all, Beach.
Yes, yes.
I've been down to see the Empress. She's in great shape.
Feeling well, is she?
Mm.
Good. She's quite a pig.
She is indeed, my dear. I have every hope she'll win the Blue Rosette again in the Fat Pigs class. At the agricultural show next month.
Mr. Carmody was saying she was the finest pig he'd ever seen.
I like that young man, Millicent. He's sound on pigs.
An improvement on his predecessor, Mr. Baxter.
Baxter? Baxter? Dreadful fellow. Always wanted me to do things, sign things. Besides, he was off his head. Threw flower pots at me at 1 o'clock in the morning. Thank goodness I've seen the last of Baxter.
If you ask me, Aunt Constance hasn't given up the idea of getting him back for you.
What? Has she said anything to you?
No, I just had this feeling. I know she doesn't like Mr. Carmody.
Utter absolute dash nonsense. Mr. Carmody is a most capable, intelligent young man. Leaves me alone, doesn't fuss me, doesn't ask me questions. Sound on pigs. I wish to heaven Connie wouldn't.
Here is Aunt Constance, Uncle.
Mm.
I thought you'd gone up to London, Aunt Constance.
I missed my train. I met Sir Gregory Parsloe in Matchingham. He kept me talking, but I can go up tomorrow. Ronald will be able to motor me back.
Parsloe, he stole my pigman, well-beloved. Offered him higher wages to go and look after his pig.
Have
at
you
Matchingham.
finished, Clarence?
Parsloe?
Sir Gregory is very much alarmed about this book of Galahad's. It seems he used to know Galahad very well when they were both young. He wanted me to find out if Galahad is putting anything about him in the book.
Well, you better ask him, Aunt Constance. Here he comes. Doesn't he look marvellous? He'd take a prize as the best-preserved black sheep retired in all the Brettle work. I'm proud to be his niece, and I look forward to his memoirs. Hello, Uncle Gally.
Hello, Millicent. Connie, Clarence.
In time for tea, Uncle Gally.
Tea? Never touch the stuff. Too much respect for me inside. You be careful, Millicent, how you fool about with it. My friend Buffy Struggles, back in '93, somehow, after a long liquid lunch, wandered into a temperance lecture with coloured slides. I met him the next day. His face was ashen, poor chap. Ashen! Gally, he said, how does a fellow set about buying tea? Tea? I said, what do you want tea for? Have a brandy and soda.
Yes, I remember Struggles. Drank too much, didn't he?
No more alcohol for me, said Buffy. Look what it does to the common earthworm. But you're not a common earthworm, Buffy, I pointed out. I dash soon will be, said Buffy, if I go on drinking alcohol. I begged him, tears in my eyes. I begged him to do nothing rash, but he had to have tea. He ordered 10 pounds of them up and was dead inside a year.
Really?
Dead as a doornail. Not run over by a hansom cab, poor old chap, crossing Piccadilly. You'll find the story in my book.
Uncle Gally, how's the book coming along?
Magnificently, my dear. I'd no idea writing was so easy. The stuff just pours out of my pen. Clarence, what year was it that Gregory Parsloe and Lord Burper had that terrible row? When Parsloe stole the old chap's false teeth and pawned them in the Edgware Road?
1896, perhaps?
I'd have put it later, 97 or 98. I'll pencil in 1896 tentatively.
Galahad, you're not proposing to print stories like that. About our nearest neighbour, too.
Oh, I certainly am. Let Tubby Parsloe sue me if he wants to. I'll fight him to the House of Lords. Well, back to my desk. My literary labours call. 96, you say, Clarence? Ah, well, perhaps you're right, perhaps you're right. Enjoy your tea.
Clarence,
My dear?
what are you going to do about this? Imagine Sir Gregory's feelings when he reads that appalling story.
I'm not worried about Parsloe's feelings.
He bribed my pig man away from me. Besides, he did steal Purpose false teeth. I remember him showing them to me. Packed in cotton wool in a small cigar box.
Oh, if only Mr. Baxter were here.
What? What do you want that dreadful fellow here for?
He'd find a way out of this dreadful business. He's so capable.
Yes, he's capable of anything. Threw flower pots at me in the middle of the night. I woke up in the small hours and found flower pots streaming in at my bedroom window. And there was this fellow Baxter on the terrace in lemon-coloured pyjamas, hurling the dashed things as though he thought it was a machine gun.
You know there was a quite simple explanation. My diamond necklace had been stolen. Mr. Baxter thought the thief had hidden it in one of the flower pots on the terrace. He went to look and got locked out and tried to attract attention.
I prefer to think the man was crazy. And that's the line Galahad takes in his book.
Galahad's not putting that story in his book.
Of course he is. Excellent material. Mustn't waste it. Baxter was a raving, roaring lunatic. Well, I'm going to have a look at the Empress. It's feeding time about now. Mustn't miss that.
Why are you so anxious to get Mr. Baxter back, Aunt Constance?
He was the only secretary your Uncle Clarence ever had who was capable of looking after his affairs. Your uncle ought never to have dismissed him. He was indispensable.
Isn't Mr. Carmody any good?
No, he isn't. He's grossly inefficient. And he spends far too much of his time mooning after you, my dear. Do you find him an entertaining companion?
Mr. Carmody? Oh, no, not particularly.
Yet you go riding with him and do play tennis with him.
Well, anything's better than riding alone. And I defy you to play tennis alone.
Well, Ronald comes tomorrow.
That'll be nice.
Yes, you ought to try to see something of him, if Mr. Carmody can spare you for a moment from time to time.
Do you think I'm in love with Mr. Carmody, Aunt Constance?
Such a thought never entered my head, Millicent. A sensible girl like you would naturally see the utter impossibility of a marriage with a man in his position.
I see.
Why won't you marry Ronald? He's a very attractive young man, just the sort that girls are drawn to. Your Aunt Julia tells me in a letter that they met a most charming American girl in Biarritz, a Miss Schoonmaker. Ronald travelled to Paris with her and left her there.
How fickle men are.
She had some shopping to do. She may be in London now. Aunt Julia invited her to stay at Blandings.
What you're trying to say, Aunt Constance, is that if I don't watch my step, this Miss Dupenhacker may steal my Ronnie away from me. Well, good luck to her, I say. They can count on me for a fish slice. And I'll be a bridesmaid if they want. Really, Aunt Constance, Ronald and I are great pals. But he's not my style. He's too short, for one thing.
Short?
I mean, she's taller than him. If we went to the altar together, I'd look like someone taking her little brother for a walk.
Well, if you won't marry Ronald, you won't. But I'm glad to hear there's no nonsense going on between you and Mr. Carmody. That I could not have endured. I happen to know, on excellent authority, that he's entangled with some impossible chorus girl.
What?
Yes. Lady Allardyce told me. Her son Vernon told her. A chorus girl of the name of Brown. Lunching and dining and dancing with Mr. Carmody in London.
Nice boy, Vernon.
Yes. He tells his mother everything.
That's what I mean. It's 6 o'clock. I'm going for a stroll. Goodbye, Aunt Constance.
Goodbye, dear.
Oh, shoo! Shoo! Go on! Get away!
Me, Hugo?
No, Millicent, of course not. It's this wasp. Oh, darling Millicent, come to your Hugo.
No. Wait.
Why? What's the matter? No kisses?
No.
Why? Oh, ouch! Oh, I've just been stung by that wasp on the cheek.
Good.
What? I say, what's up? You know, I'm getting pretty fed up with all this secrecy and general snakiness. I know your aunt looks on me as a sort of cross between a leper and a nosegay of deadly nightshade, but I'm strong with the old boy. I talk pig with him. What's wrong with going to him and telling him in a frank and manly way that we love each other and are going to get married?
Why should we lie to Uncle Clarence?
I don't get your drift.
I will continue snowing.
Oh.
I'm not quite sure I'm ever going to speak to you again. You've got some explaining to do, Hugo Carmody.
Explaining?
Yes. I have it on excellent authority that you are entangled with a chorus girl, name of Brown. How about it?
Sue, Brown? Wait, it's a lie. I haven't set eyes on Sue Brown since I first met you.
No, you've been here at Blandings.
But, when I was seeing her, why, dash it, we were like brother and sister. I liked dancing with her. She liked dancing with me. Our steps fitted. You know I've told you how much I like dancing.
Brother and sister act, eh?
Absolutely. Sue Brown's one of the nicest girls you'll ever want to meet.
Nice, is she?
A real good sort. Here, a sound egg.
She's pretty, I suppose.
Not pretty. No, not at all pretty. Not pretty at all. Sisterly.
Oh, all right. I suppose I shall have to believe you.
That's a way to talk.
But just you bear in mind, my lad, any funny business from now on, dancing, lunching, one more attack of that brotherly urge.
As though I would...
All right, then. I say, your poor cheek's swelling up a bit.
Never mind. The Bible does say, turn the other cheek, doesn't it? Right, try this one. Oh, Millicent. Oh, banzai. Sweetheart still.
I'm sure Miss Brown won't be long now, Mr. Fish. They're rehearsing the finale.
Good. I haven't seen her for 6 weeks, Mac.
I've sent a message to say you're here.
Whew, this hot weather can't be good for business, can it?
No, sir. I was sorry to hear that that nightclub you and Mr. Carmody started went west so prompt.
The hot spot. Yes.
Seen Mr. Carmody lately, sir?
Hugo? He's down at Blandings, secretary to my uncle now.
We used to see him around here quite often, asking for Miss Brown. Great friends they were.
Oh?
Yeah, made me laugh. Him so tall and her so small.
Ah.
By the way, your flowers arrived all right, Mr. Fish?
My flowers, but I
was keeping them to give her after the rehearsal.
Give them to me, Mac.
Right, sir. Here they are.
Thanks, Mac. I'll keep them here. Tell Miss Brown to hurry, won't you? I'll be waiting by my car.
Very good, sir.
Flowers? From me?
Oh, Ronnie, darling. Oh, you precious angel lambkin. Mwah!
Hello, Sue.
I'm sorry I kept you waiting, precious. Oh, Ronnie, I've missed you so.
Missed you, too. 6 weeks in Biarritz without you.
I've got wonderful news. I've just seen the manager, old Pa Mason, and I've persuaded him to let me go. For a month. Or 2 months if this heat wave continues.
So you're free?
Yes, and you're back. And who'll miss the girl 3 from the end in the back row of the chorus? So I'll be able to be with you any time you're in London. Oh, what's that behind your back? Oh, flowers. For me?
Apparently.
How do you mean apparently?
I mean, well, they are.
Oh, you pet. Oh, it's so warm. Ronnie, drive me with the hood down to Rumpelmeyer's for an ice. It must be the coolest place in town.
If you say so. Well, hop in.
Oh, Ronnie, divine ice cream and divine flowers.
I'm glad you like them.
Pleased to see me?
Yes?
What's the matter, Ronnie? Cat got your tongue?
In re those flowers, Sue. They aren't from me at all. I read it in the note. They're from some blighter called P. Frobisher Pilbeam.
Oh, no, not again.
And who is this P. Frobisher Pilbeam, huh? He's pretty much the boyfriend, I take it. What?
I've never even met him. He keeps sending me his beastly flowers and writing me his beastly letters.
And you don't know who he is?
One of the girls told me he used to edit that paper, Society Spice. I don't know what he does now.
Sometimes I wonder if you care a hang for me.
Oh, Ronnie, not here.
Too small, face too pink. My Uncle Galahad said I looked like the protoplasm of a minor jockey. Why the devil couldn't I have been born a decent height? I mean, like Hugo. That reminds me, the doorkeeper Max said that you and Hugo used to be great friends.
That was before I met you, Ronnie. I used to like dancing with him. He's a beautiful dancer. Oh, but surely you don't believe that
I don't
I'm
see why not.
Hugo? Oh, no.
He's better looking than me, taller, not so pink. Plays the saxophone, too.
Oh, Ronnie, please. I like you, Pink. I like you, Small. I'm small, too. I can kiss you without standing on tiptoe.
Sue, I'm sorry. I love you so.
Oh, Ronnie, I wish you weren't going to Blandings this afternoon. Still, if it brings your Uncle Emsworth round to our way of thinking, and he gives you your inheritance, we can tell people we're engaged and going to be married.
Yes, that damn question of the money. It's my money, but Uncle Clarence is my trustee, and I've got to persuade him to unbelt it for me.
I shall miss you. Oh, tell me about Blandings. Any girls there?
My cousin Millicent, but she and Hugo have something going.
What about that American girl, Myra something or other, in Biarritz you wrote me about?
Myra's shoemaker. One of those beastly tall girls. Oh, pots of money, I believe.
But one of your own set.
Sue.
Well, I'm not so hot. Only a chorus girl. And my mother was a music hall singer.
Oh, what?
A music hall singer, didn't I tell you?
I always thought you were American.
No, my father took me to America when my mother died. I caught a bit of the accent.
Your father?
Yes, his name was Carterley. In fact, my real name is Susan Carterley. Captain Carterley, father was, in the Irish Guards.
Well, but that's fine. Of course, I'd have loved you just the same if your father had sold jellied eels, but an officer in the Irish Guards, my family will like that. Let me dangle him before their eyes a bit.
But they'll still object to me because I'm in the chorus.
Dash all this rot people talk about chorus girls. They seem to think that just because a girl earns her living working in the chorus, she must be a sort of animated champagne vat, spending her nights dancing on tables with tight stockbrokers.
I must try it sometime.
Oh, Sue, I'm so crazy about you. And jealous, too. Sue, promise me something.
What?
Well, promise me that while I'm at Blandings, you won't go out with a soul.
Oh, Ronnie, of course not. And you will be at Blandings with your pretty cousin Millicent and that rich Miss Shoemaker, and everybody will be wanting you to marry one or the other.
Sue, if you think there's any girl on earth for me except you...
Oh, Ronnie.
Happy, Sue?
Oh, blissful.
Have you any idea where we're heading?
Heaven, perhaps?
Heaven can wait. Sue, I've got an idea. Why don't we go to Norfolk Street?
Oh, to your home?
There'll be nobody there. But the butler's a staunch old bird. He'll get us something cold from the kitchen for lunch.
Oh, you're sure there's none of the dear old family at the house to stare down at me through their lorgnettes? A chorus girl?
Not a soul. Round this corner, and there we are. Oh, my sainted aunt! My sainted aunt!
Ronnie! Ronnie!
Sue, it's my Aunt Constance. Oh, God! What are we going to do? Listen, Sue. I'm going to introduce you as Myra Shoemaker.
What?
Yes, you're an actress. Play up the American accent a bit.
Good afternoon, Ronald.
Oh, hello, Aunt Constance.
Won't you introduce me?
Oh, yes. Sorry. Myra, this is my aunt, Lady Constance Keeble. Aunt Constance, this is Myra Shoemaker.
How do you do, Lady Constance? Lady Julia told me so much about you in Biarritz.
Yes, she wrote to me about you. When can you come down to Blandings?
Oh, very soon, I hope. It's most kind of you to ask me.
I'll be going down this afternoon. I'm only up for the morning. I was hoping Ronald would drive me back.
Only too delighted, Aunt.
I'm just on my way to Claridge's for a quick lunch. Won't you both come with me?
I'd love to, but we must be getting on. Ronnie's taking me shopping.
I thought you'd stayed in Paris to do your shopping.
Not all of it.
Well, I'm delighted to have met you, Miss Shoemaker. We'll expect you at Blandings very soon. The gardens are looking delightful just now. Send a wire and we'll meet you. Market Blandings is the station. Ronald, would you drive round to Claridge's in about an hour to collect me?
Righto, Aunt Constance.
Goodbye. See you again soon, Miss Shoemaker, I hope.
So, that was your Aunt Constance. Well, well. And I'm Myra Shoemaker.
Gosh, Sue, you were simply wonderful. The way you carried it off.
And when the real Myra Shoemaker arrives at Blandings with her jewels and 24 trunks?
Gosh.
Darling Ronnie, do you know what you've got to do? Go to a post office and send a wire to that girl in Paris in your aunt's name, saying not to come to Blandings yet, as mumps, or the plague, or something like that has broken out.
I couldn't, suppose...
Be brave, Ronnie, darling. And once you get to Blandings, you'll have to work fast to get your money out of your Uncle Clarence, or Miss What's-her-name will turn up. Send that wire now, before you weaken.
Right. Well, the only trouble is that in the matter of making my Uncle Clarence unbelt, I've nothing to rely on except my natural charm. And as far as I can make out, he hasn't noticed that I have any.
In episode 1 of Summer Lightning by P.G. Wodehouse, Lord Emsworth was played by Richard Vernon, and the Honourable Galahad Threepwood by Ian Carmichael. Lady Constance was Elizabeth Spriggs, Ronnie Fish, Graham Seed, Beach, Timothy Bateson, Hugo Carmody, Royce Mills, Millicent, Wendy Murray, Sue Brown, Susanna Fellows, stage doorkeeper, David Sinclair, and the narrator, Ronald Fletcher. Summer Lightning was adapted for radio by Richard Osborne and produced by Martin Fisher. Summer Lightning by P.G. Wodehouse, adapted in 6 episodes by Richard Osborne, with Richard Vernon as Lord Emsworth and Ian Carmichael as the Honourable Galahad Threepwood. Episode 2, Sensational Theft of a Pig.
Blandings Castle is basking in summer sunshine, but beneath the apparent calm there are dark undercurrents. Ronnie Fish, Lord Emsworth's nephew, is in love with Sue Brown, a charming chorus girl in London, while Ronnie's friend, Hugo Carmody, is in love with Lord Emsworth's niece, Millicent. Lord Emsworth has a younger brother, Galahad, who's nearly finished writing his memoirs, full of good, scandalous stories about the rackety companions of his youth. But Lord Emsworth's sister, Lady Constance, is determined that Galahad's memoirs shall never see print. So she's asked Baxter, Lord Emsworth's former hated secretary, to come down to help her. Got all that? Right. Ronnie has just driven his Aunt Constance down from London. He's gone for a walk to stretch his legs and try to think out a scheme for persuading his uncle to open his trust fund so that he can marry Sue, when he comes on a caravan parked in the woods.
Is anyone at home? Oh, Baxter. This is a surprise.
Ah, Fish.
What are you doing here?
I happen to be taking a caravan holiday in the neighbourhood, and finding myself at Market Blandings, I thought I would pay a visit to the place where I'd spent so many happy days.
I see.
Is, Lady Constance in residence?
Yes. And Lord Emsworth's here too, of course. Well, you may not want to hobnob with him. I mean, after that business with the, flower pots.
I'm sure he's seen sense about that by now. I'll go and present myself to Lady Constance.
And are we getting on with my walk? Well, cheero.
Connie? Connie?
Yes, Clarence?
You know, I could swear I saw that awful fellow Baxter coming up from the terrace.
Mr. Baxter, it can't be.
If it's not him, it's his ghost that has just walked across the gravel. You remember Baxter? Fella threw flower pots at me. Off his head, must have been.
Nonsense, Clarence.
What did I tell you?
Mr. Baxter, sir. Good evening, Beach.
It is him.
Is her ladyship in? Yes,
I told you.
Quiet, Clarence. I'll go and see what he wants.
Well, don't bring him near me.
Mr. Baxter, what a surprise. That'll be all, Beach.
Yes, my lady.
Lady Constance, I happened to be taking a caravan holiday and finding myself near the castle last night. I parked in your Westwood and have come to call.
How delightful. Of course you must come and stay here. I'll send someone over immediately to get your things. It will be like old times having you here again. Won't it, Clarence? Won't it, Clarence?
What? I must go and see my pig.
don't take too much notice of my brother, Mr. Baxter. I'm so glad you were able to come. And in a caravan. How clever. It might have seemed prearranged otherwise.
Yes, I thought of that.
You think of everything, Mr. Baxter.
Is there some trouble, Lady Constance? Your message seemed so very urgent.
I'm in dreadful trouble, Mr. Baxter.
If there is anything I can do.
I hardly like to ask you.
Ask me whatever you please, and if it is in my power...
Oh, it is. It's my other brother, Galahad.
Yes.
He's here now, finishing his reminiscences. The book is full from beginning to end of libelous anecdotes, Mr. Baxter. If it is published, we shall not have a friend left. Galahad seems to have known everybody in England when they were young and foolish, and to remember everything particularly foolish and disgraceful they did.
So you want me to get hold of the manuscript and destroy it?
Mr. Baxter, you are my only hope. It does seem, I know, an extraordinary thing to ask.
Not at all.
But Lord Emsworth refuses to do anything.
I see.
You know how he is in the face of any emergency.
Yes, I do indeed.
So supine, so hopeless, so vague and altogether incompetent.
Precisely. Lady Constance, you need have no further anxiety. Leave it to me.
Oh, Mr. Baxter.
Baxter. Flower pot. What's he doing here? Disgraceful.
Hello there, Clarence.
Well,
Lovely evening, what?
not much lovely about it, Galahad.
Why, what's up?
It's that dreadful fellow Baxter. He's surfaced in a caravan, and Connie has asked him to stay in the castle.
Oh, Lord.
I decided to escape and go and see the Empress. Baxter gives me the shivers.
Don't know what Connie sees in him. I'll walk with you. Give me an appetite for dinner.
What's the fellow think he's doing? And in a caravan. There it is, see?
Ah, cheer up, Clarence. Forget Baxter. The Empress is waiting to greet you.
Yes. And... hello, there's young Ronald leaning over the rails. What's he up to? What's the damn fool doing? Ronald! Ronald! What are you doing to the Empress?
Oh, I was bouncing this tennis ball on her back.
A tennis ball?
See, she likes it.
Stop it, will you? Are you aware that the Empress of Blandings is an excessively nervous, highly strung animal, only too ready at the slightest provocation to refuse her meals? You might have undone the work of months with your idiotic tennis ball.
I'm sorry.
What's the use of being sorry?
I never thought.
You never do. That's what's the trouble with you. Really, Ronald, sometimes you make me despair. Galahad, you saw him.
Come on, Clarence. It's only a pig.
Only a pig? There, old girl. Good heavens. Can none of my family appreciate she's the most remarkable animal in Great Britain? No pig in the annals of the Shropshire Agricultural Show has ever won the Blue Rosette 2 years running. Now that, if only people will leave her alone and refrain from incessantly pelting her with tennis balls, is what the Empress is quite certain to do. It's an unheard-of feat. Who's a good girl?
Now, hold on, Clarence. Don't be too cocksure. Listen to this. I was in the Emsworth Arms this afternoon, and there was someone there making a bet on the fat pig's prize. He was offering 3 to 1 on an animal called Pride of Matchingham. Red-haired fellow with a squint. Slightly bottled.
That's Well-Beloved, my pig man. He's gone over to Parsloe at Matchingham Hall for higher wages. Well-Beloved's a traitor. Parsloe's another.
Parsloe? Parsloe? Then you had better look after this pig of yours, Clarence. You know Parsloe. He'll queer the Empress somehow. That man's as slippery as a greased eel.
Oh, bless myself.
Not will a pig.
Let me tell you a little story about young Tubby Parsloe. 1 or 2 of us used to meet at the Black Footman in Gossiter Street in the old days and match our dogs against rats in the room behind the bar.
Gosh.
Well, I put my Towser, an admirable beast, up against young Parsloe's banjo on one occasion for £100 a side. When the night came and he was shown the rats, I'm dashed if my Towser didn't just give a long yawn, roll over and go to sleep. I whistled him, called him, Towser, Towser, no good, fast asleep.
Oh, with all those rats there.
Yes. It is my firm belief that young Parsloe took Towser aside just before the contest and gave him about 6 pounds of steak and onions. Couldn't prove anything, but I sniffed the dog's breath, and it was like opening the kitchen door of a Soho chop house on a summer night. That is the sort of man Parsloe is.
A bounder.
That's a fact. You'll find the full story in my book.
God bless myself. I never realized it. I didn't suspect. I must go away and think about it. Can't have anything happening to the Empress. That would never do. That would never do.
I say, Uncle Gally,
Hmm?
you don't really think Sir Gregory will try and steal the Empress?
I certainly do. Known him for 30 years.
But how?
Go to a sty at night and take her away, of course.
And hide her somewhere?
Yes.
But an animal this size...
Don't talk like an idiot, Ronnie. She's got a ring through her nose, hasn't she?
You mean Sir Gregory could catch hold of the ring and she'd breeze along quite calmly?
Certainly. Puffy Bencher and I stole old Wivenhoe's pig the night of the Bachelor's Ball at Hammers Easton in the year 95. We put it in Plug Bertram's bedroom. No difficulty about the thing at all. A little child could have led it.
Is that so? Oh, evening, Beach. Busy?
No, Mr. Ronald.
I just thought I'd look in for a chat. Long time since we had a real cosy talk. When I was a kid, I was in and out of this pantry all day long.
Yes, sir. Won't you sit in that chair?
Thank you. Ah, those were the days, Beach.
Yes, sir.
No problems then. No worries. And even if I had worries, I could always bring them to you, couldn't I?
Yes, sir.
Remember the time I hid here when my Uncle Galahad was after me with a wangee for putting tin tacks in his chair?
Yes, sir.
It was a close call, but you saved me.
I did my best to give satisfaction, sir.
And later, as the years went by, I did my best to repay you. Remember the time when I was at Eton? I sent you a wire. Put your shirt on Blackbird for the Manchester November Handicap, eh? You collected a packet.
It did prove a remarkably sound investment, yes, sir.
So now, Beach, I know you'll help me. Quite a simple thing. When I've stolen my uncle's pig, you will be there to help feed her until I give her back.
Steal his lordship's pig?
You see, Beach, I made up my mind to sneak the Empress away and keep her hidden.
Huh?
In that gamekeeper's cottage. And then, when Uncle Clarence is sending out SOSs and offering large rewards, I shall find her there and return her, thus winning his undying gratitude and delighted to unbelt a bit of my money so that I can get married. It's the scheme of a lifetime, you were going to say? You're quite right, it is. But pigs like the Empress require large quantities of food at regular intervals. I can't possibly handle the entire commissariat department myself, and that's where you're going to help me, like the splendid fellow you are and always have been.
Oh, but Mr. Ronald...
Don't tell me you're thinking of throwing me down, Beach. Of course you aren't, you couldn't. And you've gathered, with that quick intelligence of yours, that there's money in the thing. 10 quid down, Beach, the moment you give the nod.
Really, Mr. Ronald, I don't think you ought to ask me.
Think well, Beach. Who gave you Creole Queen for the Lincolnshire?
You did, sir.
Who gave you Maserati for the Jubilee Stakes?
You did, sir.
And who now has something really hot to give you for the Goodwood Cup?
Jujube, sir?
No, not Jujube.
Ginger George?
No, not Ginger George. No good trying to guess. Only 2 touts and the stable cat know this one. But you shall know the minute I give that pig back and claim my reward. And that pig needs to be fed, Beach. How about it?
Tell me just what it is you want me to do, Mr. Ronald.
Good man, Beach. At 11 o'clock this evening, I shall have the Empress safely in the gamekeeper's cottage.
Ronnie! Ronnie!
Hello? Who's there?
It's me. Can I come in?
Oh, hello, Hugo. You're up early?
Yeah. Oh, still in bed, eh? What, have you heard the news?
No, what?
You know that pig of your uncle's, the Empress? She's gone.
Gone?
Gone! The old boy told me. Your Uncle Clarence, he's having kittens. When he went to the sty for his early morning call, she wasn't there.
Well, I'm dashed.
Yeah. You don't sound all that surprised.
Yes, I do. I sound frightfully surprised. Why shouldn't I be surprised?
All right, just as you say. Spring about a bit more, though, when I bring you sensational tidings. But I tell you one thing.
What?
Out of evil cometh good. I've got 36 hours leave out of it. The old boy is sending me out to London to get a detective to come down and find the pig.
What?
Yeah, Argus Inquiry Agency, Henley Court, London, West 1. I shall have to spend the night in town.
A detective? Well, isn't that overdoing it a bit?
And a night in town won't hurt me at all. I've got fidgety feet. Give me a good band, a good dance floor, a girl of sorts, a bottle of wine, and I shall out-a-stare, fed-a-stare. Bring the roses back into my cheeks, what?
Whose idea was it, getting down this blighted detective?
Mine.
Yours, eh?
All mine. I suggested it.
You did you? Well, buzz off. I want to dress.
Ronnie! Ronnie!
Oh, hello, Millicent.
You don't sound too bright. Anything wrong?
No. I'm all right.
Ronnie, have you seen Hugo anywhere?
Yes. He went up to London on the 10:30.
What?
He's gone to a place called the Argus Inquiry Agency to get a detective to investigate this business of the Empress's disappearance.
Do you know what? This looks fishy to me. Why didn't Uncle Clarence just ring up the Argus people and ask them to send down a man? Whose idea was it anyway to get a man down?
Hugo's.
He suggested he should run up to town?
Yes.
I thought as much. It's fishy. It's too much zeal. It looks very much as if our Mr. Carmody had a special reason to want to get up to London for the night. And I think I know what the reason was. Did you ever hear of a girl called Sue Brown?
What? It isn't true.
What isn't true?
That there's anything between Hugo and, this girl. Did you say her name was Sue Brown?
Yes. Well, I had it from an authoritative source. I've got to go and make a phone call.
And I'm going back to London.
Hello there.
Yes?
Is this the Argus Inquiry Agency?
Yes?
And you're P. Frobisher Pilbeam, manager?
Yes.
Carmody's the name. Hugo Carmody.
Come in and take a seat.
Yes, you are.
Well, what can I do for you?
Now, listen, Sleuth. I'll get right down to business, omitting no detail, however slight. I'm secretary, and a jolly good one, to Lord Emsworth of Blandings Castle.
Blandings Castle, Market Blandings? Then perhaps you can tell me what this is all about. This telegram, it has just come.
What? Oh, Argus Inquiry Agency, London. Yeah. Oh, the old boy must have sent this after I left. Just like him to forget to sign it. Be sure to send best man investigate big robbery. Big robbery? It's a misprint. What he meant was pig robbery. He's lost his pig.
His pig?
You know what a pig is, surely, Pilbeam. If not, I'm afraid there's a good deal of tedious spade work ahead of us.
Mr. Carmody, if Lord Emsworth seriously supposes that I have time to...
The Argus Agency does not detect pigs, is that it? I feared as much. Well, so be it. And now, Sleuth, may I take advantage of the beautiful friendship which has sprung up between us to use your telephone?
Well, I'm not so sure about that.
Thank you. Hello. Exchange? Can you get me Wellingborough House? Sloane 801, I think. Now, you seem a knowledgeable sort of bloke, Pilbeam. Where do the village swains go in London these days to dance upon the green? What is the best that London has to offer a young man with his blood up and the vine leaves more or less in his hair?
Mario's, it's the only place.
Thanks. Hello, Sloane 801. Is that the hall porter? Yeah? Well, would you make a long arm and haul Miss Brown to the telephone? Miss Sue Brown, yes, of course. No other Browns are any use to me. Mario's, you say. Is it a good band?
It's Leopold's.
Good enough.
Hello?
Hello, Sue. This is Hugo.
Oh, Hugo!
Yes, your old friend and best dancing partner. H. Carmody, just up for the night from Blandings, on a mission of extraordinary secrecy and delicacy.
How nice to hear from you again, Hugo.
Listen, Sue, I was wondering whether you'd care to come out this evening and help me restore my lost youth. Trip the light fantastic with me, what?
Hugo, I'd love to, but I'm not sure. I must think.
Eh? Hello.
Don't yodel like that, Hugo. You nearly deafened me.
Well, how do you react? Is it on for tonight?
It would be nice to see you again, Hugo.
You shall, in person. Clean shirt, white waistcoats, the Carmody studs and everything.
Well, all right, I'm game. Where?
Mario's. They tell me it's the posh spot.
I know it, Hugo.
All right, then. 8:30, downstairs for dancing.
Oh, Hugo, I shouldn't. But I will.
I shouldn't either. But you'll be there. Good girl. Thanks, Pilbeam, for use of instrument.
Thank you.
Well, I'll be pushing along. Ring us up if you change your mind about pig hunting. Market Blandings, 32X. You'll make a good thing out of this business, do you?
Yeah, so.
What does the work consist of? I've often wondered. Measuring footprints and putting the tips of your fingers together and all that, I suppose.
We are frequently asked to follow people and report on their movements.
Well, don't go following me and reporting on my movements. No. Much trouble might ensue. Bung ho!
Goodbye, Mr. Carmody. Mario's at 8:30, eh?
Hugo, lovely dancing with you again.
Ditto.
I say, you won't breathe a word about this to my darling Ronnie, will you? About our coming here, I mean.
Not a syllable.
Ronnie's funny, you see.
One long scream.
I mean, he wouldn't understand.
No? Yeah. Great surprise it was to me to hear that you and the old hound had decided to team up. But although he never confided in his boyhood friend, I told him about Millicent and me being engaged.
Yes, Ronnie told me. Congratulations. Lucky old you. I wish I were the niece of an earl.
Yes, I am betrothed. And so, at long last, came a day when love wound his silken fetters about Hugo Carmody. But you mustn't say a word to my Millicent about tonight either.
Oh, of course not.
You see, Millicent, though practically perfect in other respects, is one of those girls who might misunderstand this little night out of mine, did it become to her ears. Speaking of which, you ought to see them like alabaster shells.
I know what you mean. Ronnie's like that.
You mean to tell me that Ronnie's ears are like alabaster shells?
No, silly. I mean that he'd be furious if he knew that I'd come out dancing. But oh, I do love dancing so.
Oh, yes.
Now, Hugo, I want to know all about your Millicent.
Uh-huh.
But you're so tall, I can't talk seriously to you on the dance floor.
Well, let's sit this one out for Millicent's sake. Go on, I'll lead the way. There. Now, fire away with your questions.
Is Millicent very pretty?
Yes. And the sweetest girl on earth.
And you love her devotedly?
Madly. And when I think I'm just about to deceive her, the soul sickens.
Deceive her? How?
Well, I've arranged to telephone Blandings Castle in a moment from the manager's office here, and I shall tell Millicent I'm ringing in from my hotel, just to say good night. I don't want her to get any ideas of my slipping my collar and going on the tiles.
Hardly on the tiles.
No, but she'd say it was.
So would Ronnie, bless his jealous heart. Do you know, he thinks there's a mystery masher in my life, following me round London.
Oh, poor old Ronnie. Mr. Carmody, excuse me, your telephone call is through. Will you follow me?
Thank you, yeah. Excuse me, Sue, I won't be long.
Right.
This way, sir.
Good evening, Miss Brown. May I introduce myself? My name is Pilbeam, Percy Pilbeam.
Pilbeam? Oh, no.
But I've been waiting for this opportunity of seeing you alone, Miss Brown.
Please, go away. I don't want to see you, ever. Go away.
You have never answered my letters or my flowers, but now...
How did you find out I was here?
I have a way of finding out things I want to know. Miss Brown, I must talk to you. I want to know you better. Won't you give me a chance?
No, I will not. Please go. Or I'll call the manager.
Let me go! Let me go!
I'm sorry, sir, you can't come in here. You're not dressed for dancing.
Will you get out of my way?
Sorry, sir, you can't come in.
Take your hands off me!
Won't you give me a chance, Miss Brown?
Will you go away, Mr. Pilbeam?
Sue! Sue! I really must insist, sir. You're not dressed for dancing. You will have to leave.
Let me go! Sue, at last I found you.
Ronnie, thank God it's you. You've come just in time.
Just in time for what? Who's your partner? Won't you introduce me?
Allow me. My name is Percy Pilbeam.
Is it? I thought it might be. Take that!
Oh, Ronnie!
You dislocated my jaw. I'll have the law on you for that. I'm going to get a policeman.
Sir, I must insist that you leave this establishment.
Take your hands off me! Stop that man! Don't let that filthy toad get away! Let me go, will you? Or you'll get one too!
Luigi, take his other arm!
No, you don't! Take that!
Lady, Gino! Put this man out in the street and quickly! And tell Leopold to start the dancing again, immediately!
Si, signor!
Let me go! Go!
Ronnie! Ronnie! Ronnie!
Says, what on earth's been going on?
Take me home, Hugo. Take me home.
In episode 2 of Summer Lightning by P.G. Wodehouse, Lord Emsworth was played by Richard Vernon and the Honourable Galahad Threepwood by Ian Carmichael. Lady Constance was Elizabeth Spriggs. Ronnie Fish, Graham Seed. Beach, Timothy Bateson. Hugo Carmody, Royce Mills. Millicent, Wendy Murray. Sue Brown, Susan Fellows. Baxter, Christopher Godwin. Percy Pilbeam, Roger Sloman. Restaurant manager, Jonathan Tuffler. And the narrator, Ronald Fletcher. Summer Lightning was adapted for radio by Richard Osborne and produced by Martin Fisher.